So after that race in Coda, I hope you haven't got too comfortable since we immediately moved to the next weekend, which is of course Mexico. Now these stretch of races are pretty neat since I am of course Mexican American, which means there's like 3 home races nearly back to back to back. And of course this one is my favorite since it's the race that I really want to go to someday, along with this one holding some pretty cool memories. I remember watching F1 in 2021 with my parents who don't normally watch the sport, mind you, and they were going crazy for Checo, and especially when he got on the podium. That's such a cool memory that I cherish to my heart every single day, and with Checo returning on the grid for next year, I'm gonna need much more of that. But enough about me, what about this track, and is it even a good one? Since yeah, I know I just raved on about cool memories, but what's a good memory if it's not a good track? And I mean, it's not the worst on the calendar, and it does have some good bits. Of course, there is the super duper long straight leading into the tight turn 1 turn 2 section that always causes drama every single year, specifically on lap 1. There was that crash last year along with the near identical version in 2023. We don't talk about the drivers affected. The same in 2021, yada yada yada. It happens a lot, okay? Moving through, we have a nice flow of corners all throughout Sector 2, which was the battlegrounds for Max's terrorism last year. May Norris's soul rest in peace, he hasn't been the same since. And finally, the lap ends with the sick-ass stadium section that even gives me chills playing it on the F1 game. So despite the cool bits all around the track, for racing, I don't know, maybe it's the regulation of car, but this track struggles to put on a good show consistently, which either makes us happy after the race or just okay. Obviously, with the context of the season and how everything's shaping up to be, we should hope for some good racing or at least some big moments, so let us keep hope. Lord knows Max and the McLarens need it. So you know the drill by now, people. Let us make a preview to the weekend by jotting down the teams to watch, which driver to watch, the drama from the weekend prior, and of course, my predictions that are like prophecies at this point. So go subscribe if you're new if you like punching metal for fun, and let's get to quacking now.
See those clouds up in the corner? That's where the rain is coming from.
As always, we have the teams to watch first, and oh boy do we need to be watching. Mexico is a very interesting place since this weekend is not like other weekends. Mexico is a very high place. It's the track that is the most above ground level, and for some reason, this kind of shakes things up a bit. I mean, kind of not anymore, but whatever. Even aside from that, time is ticking, folks. Teams are still having blunders, and if this was Spain, boo-hoo, there's more than half a season yet to go. But this is Mexico. There are only 4 more rounds after this one. Teams need to either lock in or go home. Normally, this is where I bring up Alpine because who knows, maybe this time they could lock in, but I've given up hope. So instead, we should watch Haas since like last week, they need to perform now. This is quite honestly the last chance they have to perform good in the standings, and that's putting it kindly. To be frank, they're already out of it for like 6th or 7th, but let's have some optimism. Coda wasn't the best weekend for them across the sprints in the main event, which was pretty embarrassing given their livery. So if they need some good news, at least it won't suck in front of their home crowd. But my goodness me, people, Haas have been very rough since the summer break, and it's breaking my heart. Ever since I got divorced from my husband Ferrari, it's been very rough, and where I'm trying to find solace in my new team Haas, I'm just not finding it. Why can I never be happy in this sport? Seriously, why did I even think starting a channel was a good idea knowing I'm never happy? Anyways, next up we have Sauber, who maybe could still do it. Unlike Haas, they're not too far away from their midfield rivals and can still put up a good challenge. Hulk seems to have maybe found 1 lap pace finally, so couple that with his good race pace and the beautiful specimen known as Gabriel Bortoleto, and now things are looking pretty good. The only thing stopping them from mounting more of a serious fight is the fact that their car is kinda way too bipolar still, unfortunately. Their car one weekend is very high up and they're stunning the grid and display not once thought possible just a year ago, and then the next we're like, oh yeah, it's Sauber. Mexico, I would like to think, would be a weekend where they could be sort of happy, given this track isn't too different from Coda, and I don't want to call it early, but I don't know. It's in the air, you know? The winds are telling me Gabby will finish in P7 and Hulk P8, so let's see if God really has abandoned my life to shame. Next up is Aston Martin, for better or worse. I know I mention them basically every weekend, but that's the pros of bipolarism. Whatever I say here has a 50-50 chance of coming true. This team performs really shit often, so when they eventually perform better, it makes it seem like it was some marvelous result. So I'm predicting this weekend that the reason why we should watch them is because Aston, more likely just Alonso, will drive the wheels off of the car, and what a time to do it. Quick question, my dear viewer. Did you remember Aston was even on the grid in Coda? I mean, they were nowhere doing nothing, which only makes it fitting they'll be very good here. Who cares that the track is similar to Coda and likely will deliver same results? Who cares, man? It's all in good fun. So Aston will perform pretty nicely here, and if they don't, I want you all to know that your souls have been been sold to the devil, so hope that he isn't too bad here should you still value your life. But now for the top dogs, and I have the red team. I am getting really fed up with the red team. Like, I thought divorcing them would at least kind of make me forget about them, but I still care. I see them doing good and I wish I could move on, but I can't. I want even better for them. I hate seeing them this down regardless of an improved weekend last week, because I know I've been there with them in the best moments. But I'm sorry, until they are winning again, I must leave them for now. I will pray for the day I can return to my beloved. Anyways, Coda wasn't too bad for them. The sprints were utterly terrible, but for everything else, they were good and better. There was still some Lyco problems, but not like last week. So I'm gonna keep it short and just say, I hope this is a step in the right direction. Red team, you are slowly winning me back. And finally is of course our dynamic duo of Red Bull and McLaren. I'll be bunching them together from now on since their stories are near identical. Red Bull needs to win or at least stay ahead of McLaren should Max still desire the title, and of course McLaren need to lock in and just win just so they can ensure that the title will go to either one of their drivers. Where they deviate this weekend is the fact that historically Red Bull and Max love this circuit since for some reason they just get it here. Max has won a bunch along with Red Bull just being super fast here, and this is really bad for McLaren since as we know by now they have zero straight line speed. So the ball is in McLaren's court this weekend, I would say, and it's up to only them on whether we should continue to prey on their downfall or make us remember that this is McLaren and they won too. I don't know how to make them sound more intimidating. But now for the drivers to watch, and I say keep your eye on Alonso. Now, I don't think he will get like top 5 or anything, but like I said, I feel like he'll put on a show for all of us. Whether he's scrapping away for P16 or for P6, who the hell knows, but I feel it in my veins. Alonso will get feisty and pretty damn sexy here. But now for the drama, and since it's a double header, there is little to talk about. So I guess starting with the MBS drama, and guys, we gotta form a freedom fighter coalition. In case you were unaware, Viewer Solayem is gonna be our FIA president again, and it was done in very, how should I say it, fitting circumstances. The billionaire who hates bad words and bad things said about him is gonna win the presidency after every candidate dropped out of the race due to obscure rules, as the press puts it. This obscure rule is in fact so obscure that I don't even know what the hell it is. Like, what do you mean obscure rule? Doesn't that go everything against a rule is supposed to stand for? I mean, I just have no words. What I do know is that the rule that allowed him to win again has something to do with representatives from every continent needing to declare for someone, and South America only has one representative, of course, who, by the way, is Big Bad Birding's Ecclestone wife, and she willingly or unwillingly declared for MBS, meaning no other candidate can be in contention for the office, which led to them all dropping out. Tim Mayer, who was one of the candidates running, said this is anti-democracy and straight up called MBS a dictator fraud. I mean, my word, what a stupid presidency system you got there, FI, but it doesn't matter. It's an organization, not a country, so there's little the people can do, I think. I guess we need to deal with more years of MBS as the president. Can't wait to see what other bullshit he has for us. Next up is the news regarding the Mercedes contract for both Kimi and George Russell. Now, normally, I wouldn't discuss these things since boohoo, but the details around the contract are pretty vague. Some say it's only a 1 year, others say it's a 1+1, others say it's a multi-year contract. Regardless of what it is for George, Toto, what the hell is wrong with you? George Russell is your boy. Why are you still down bad for Max? I already said this in the past, but any benefit Max might bring to Mercedes will virtually be the same to just keeping Russell on the team. George is a mighty fine driver and he's good at driving. Why are you being stingy with him? If you're gonna be a dick to your drivers, at least be one to Kimi since he's young, and as long as he still shows him support, he won't crumble if he gets dropped. But whatever. I'm hoping George got a multi-year since I need to see George winning a title with Mercedes for legacy's sake, so let's hope 2026 is as good as they say. Finally, I have McLaren being incompetent again. Now, I know, many wouldn't call this news, but guys, I just need to vent about this team. Coda was such a hilarious weekend since I don't know how they do it. They just get worse and worse and worse. Lando I'm not going to talk about since he was actually pretty good and did no wrong, but everyone else is free reign for me. Oscar is a supposed champion level driver in his 3rd year, and despite all of his mistakes throughout the season and bang average pace, no one thought this was worrying and all thought he would easily win the title. But my words have finally repaid me since for months I said you give him a Lando Norris who stops being shit and bottling and a Max Verstappen in a near equal car and he will be left behind. And what's happening? He's being left behind. Now again, I don't think he is a bad driver, but he still has so much of his career left, and to me, this was always gonna happen. Can he still win the title? title? Maybe, but I don't think a single person on the planet will have the same respect for it as they would have at a time like Spa or something. And then the entire McLaren team made comments last week that were outrageous, like whatever the repercussions were for Lando and Zach Brown's initial comments on Hülkenberg after the sprint. Man, I wish I could respect this team, but I just can't. Everything they do pisses me off, so let's hope 2026 is a reset point for them, cause I don't know how much more of this I can take. Anyways, enough of that. Now for my juicy predictions for Mexico that you of course skipped to. How many times must I say? As always, must be said that we'll predict 3 things: the top 5 in the quali, the top 5 in the race, and a random prediction from any session. It should also be noted that these predictions are based on nothing but pure vibes, so bear with me. We have no sprints this weekend, so it's time for the main event in quali, and I predict that the top 5 on Saturday, starting with 5th, will be George Russell, 4th will be Charles Leclerc, and 3rd will be Oscar Piastri, and 2nd will be Lando Norris, and for pole position I have Max Verstappen yet again by 7/100ths to Lando. Now for the race predictions, and starting with 5th I have Kimi Antonelli, and 4th I have George Russell, and 3rd I have Lando Norris, and 2nd I have Oscar Piastri, and the winner of the Mexican Grand Prix is Max Verstappen, who straight line speeds his way to victory. Time for my random prediction. I think in the race, poor old Charles won't start the race because of some red team bullshit. You know how they are. Also, make sure to join the Discord to make your predictions for the weekend and have a chance to appear in the winners and losers. So that was my weekend preview for Mexico. I'm pretty psyched for this weekend, but to be fair, I just like the sport so much, so I'm always excited. I mean, I know in the hot take video I said this was the worst motorsport, but cut me some slack. I still love this sport and I always find myself full of joy leading up to all the sessions. So let's hope for a good weekend, lads. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock for their continued support, and make sure to join if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe so it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what your predictions are, and as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.